In a world of complex productivity systems, we often forget the importance of simplicity. As Albert Einstein famously said, everything should be made as simple as possible, but not simpler. While many experts showcase their task and project managers, live operating systems, and second brains, I understand that sometimes a faster and simpler approach is all you need. So whether you're looking for a more functional yet less overwhelming approach, or if this is your first time venturing into task management, then you are in the right place. Hey there, I'm Fran, and in this channel we explore the wisdom and tools that can help us optimize our energy, mind, and performance so that we can operate at our full potential. In this video, I'll walk you through the Optimus Task Manager, or OTM for short. It is a task management system that I developed over the years through numerous trials and errors. I've experimented with nearly every system out there, and after a long journey, this is what I've built. For implementing this system as effectively and effortlessly as possible, I recommend that you go through the whole video once, and then you download the free template that is in the resources below and come back to different parts of the video as needed. Everything will be time-stamped so that you can easily reference what it may be that you're looking for. With that said, let's jump in. So this is what you're going to get when you duplicate OTM into your own Notion space. Now, all of my work is based around Minimalist Functionality, which is a concept I came up with after doing this for a long time, and it's based around purposeful simplicity, which means that every single feature and element in here serves an essential role. And again, we want to make things as simple as possible, but not simpler, meaning that we don't want to lose functionality, but we also don't want to have unnecessary clutter and complexity. As you can see, we only have 2 dashboards and 1 database. If you are new to Notion, the only thing that you really need to know is that databases are like Excel spreadsheets where the data is located, whereas the dashboards are just Notion pages that we customize with embedded databases and filter views of them so that they provide important information. Now, I could have merged everything into 1 dashboard, but in my past life, when I worked as a cook, I learned one of the key practices of high-performing kitchens that we can transfer into our task managers, and that is the mise en place principle. Mise en place is a French term that means everything in its place, but in practice, essentially what it is the division between the prepping and the cooking. So before we actually needed to cook and serve dishes, we would prep all the ingredients, we would cut all things up, and we made sure to have all of those ingredients ready at hand when the cooking time came. Now, why did I transfer this to task management? Well, we don't want to be in planning mode or prepping mode and in doing mode or action mode at the same time. So that's why we have 2 dashboards, and the prep zone is the dashboard where we plan our days, where we prep the stage for effective action, and the win zone is where we spend maybe 95% of our working day, and in the win zone is where we are in action mode. So as we'll see, this works wonderfully when we combine both dashboards into our workflow. We don't operate from the tasks database. This database only operates in the background. We actually only use the 2 dashboards. I will give you a really quick overview of these dashboards, and then we'll dive deeper into how to manage our tasks, how to plan our days, execute our days, and how to end our days. So let's start with the prep zone. In the prep zone, what you will find is all of your tasks filtered by different views. First of all, you will find the inbox view, which is where you capture or collect your tasks and ideas as your day goes by. You will usually be adding things to your inbox in the win zone, which I'm going to explain in a second. Then we have the today view, which are basically the tasks that you have assigned a due date for today. Then we have the calendar view, which in my opinion is the most useful one of all. And in here you can see your plan for today and for all of your following days. This is obviously a demo account, but my real account has lots of things in here and in, let's say, the first few days of August. Then we have the tomorrow view, then we have the someday, maybe, and the waiting on. We'll dive deeper into this later in the video, but for now I'm going to show you the win zone. Win zone The term win stands for what's important now. It's a term that I learned from Brian Johnson. And basically in here we have the view for only what matters today. So what's important now? You have all of your tasks already ordered by priority, which again I'm going to explain in a second. And you also have, well, in here you have the calendar view, and you have the tasks that you are waiting on for someone to do something or for something to happen. And in here you have the inbox toggle. So let's say that I am going through my day. Let's say I already called Clark Kent for X, Y, and Z, and he told me to get him a new suit, right? So I would put in here, get Clark Kent a new suit. And that's in here, but you need to remember that we don't want to plan and do at the same time. So in here, in the win zone, we are in action mode. That means that I'm going to just let this task live in here for a while, and I'm going to continue with my plan for the day. If you open a task, you will find its name and 4 properties: the type, due date, priority, and done. There are a few things that we need to take into consideration for effectively managing our tasks. First, we have a few things with the naming of the task. And I'm going to actually click on this one to explain this. Now, let's say that we have to answer start emails, right? What most of us will do is to just go something like this, right? So start emails. That's what we usually write in our task management systems. However, as we described in the Art of Impossible book summary video, which you can check, I think, above here, we need clear goals. We need to set a clear goals list. So if someone would come in here and see my task management system, he or she just wouldn't know what needs to be done with the start emails name. So we have to add more specificity. This is the specificity principle. Now, the easiest and most effective way of adding specificity to a task is just to simply start each task with a verb. So instead of start emails, we would put answer start emails. And if we want to level it up a bit, we have 2 options. We can either use time or results. So if I go for results, I may put answer 5 start emails. So once I answered 5 emails that I already started, then this task is done. Now I can also go the time route, and instead of putting that, I just write answer start emails for 30 minutes. So I know that, let's say from 5 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. I'll be answering start emails. And once I finish those 30 minutes, it doesn't really matter how much of them I answered, this task is also done. And I can click on done. And if you see in here, the task already disappeared, which is a great thing. Let's take a look at the type property. Let's click on this one. So the type property has 4 elements that we can choose from. And those are the inbox, the actionable, someday maybe, and waiting. 99% of your tasks will be actionable, but they may come from your inbox beforehand, which I'm going to explain in a second. But they can also be like a someday or maybe thing, but they can also be waiting, as you may be waiting for someone to do something, or you may be waiting for something to happen. So for instance, in the example that I provide in the calendar view, we can see that I am waiting for editors to send me video number 4, which this is also in here. The cool thing about this is that we can set a date, and I also put a reminder on the date of events. So if the editor doesn't send me the video by Friday, then I follow up with a message, or I know that something needs to be done. And we use the due date, the DO date, and not the due date, the DUE date, because we are much more interested in actually seeing when we are planning to do the task than when the task actually needs to be done. This is a concept that I learned from August Bradley, which is my #1 mentor when it comes to Notion performance system, and I find it just insanely valuable. So that's basically what you need to know. Then we have the priorities. Now the priorities, how I set priorities, you will find schedule, quick, #1 win. We have second priority, third, fourth, and remember. Now the way I do this is on any given day, there is only one most important task or #1 win that needs to be done. Then we have scheduled items, which is you know, all the events, all those things that can and may live in your calendar because they have a time attached to that. For instance, my meeting with Superman is happening today at 3 p.m. That is scheduled. So we want to see events, you know, at the top and then tasks after that. And then we have a second priority and third priority. And there is a reason I chose those colors, because what I like to do is to assign a second priority to the things that I'm going to do in the morning or that I am planning to do in the morning, and third priority to the things that I am planning on doing at the last half of my working day. And also, one other thing that you may benefit from analyzing when you are setting your priorities is, first of all, we want to be creative before we are reactive. So especially with the number one win, we want to do that task before anything else. So before opening email, before checking social media, instead of blowing up our consciousness when we are most alert and we have the greatest cognitive function, we want to do our most important task of the day. That's a lesson I learned from Brian Johnson, and again, I have found it insanely valuable. The last thing that you want to take into consideration is the cognitive load. This is a term that I learned from James Hewitt, which is a human performance scientist that studies how to optimize the knowledge worker's mind. So the cognitive load is basically the cognitive difficulty of a task, and usually you would benefit from doing higher cognitive load tasks earlier in the day, and then as your mind starts to get a bit tired, then you shift to the ones that don't require that much cognitive load. And then we have fourth priority, which is, you know, just for those tasks that maybe don't require more than, you know, 10 to 15 minutes and they have low cognitive load. So I would do all of them just in the last half an hour of my working day before I plan the next day. And finally, we have the done checkbox, which is very self-explanatory. Let's say I already filmed the video you are watching right now, and I just click on done and that's it. So let's say that we got to the end of our Wednesday 26 and we have these items which we haven't checked. Now, I did this, so I will check this off, but I just didn't get to do this. So what I am going to do is I have, you know, already pre-planned the 27th. Now, what I do the week before actually is I just get the meetings that I have in here and the number one win for each day. So this will be already pre-planned, but as you go and use the system yourself, you will find that, you know, you will have already planned a few things for the next day. And now what I am going to do is to just drag and drop these things into here because I just didn't get to do that. And then what I do is I just look at, you know, the next day and I see the plan. I analyze whether I can get one more task or not. In this case, I do. So I'm going to this that I set out for Friday, I'm going to just drag and drop it for tomorrow. But you have to remember that less is more and that you can always add a task once you are finished with your tasks. We tend to be really naive optimists when we plan, so whenever you're in doubt, it's better to just drag and drop something for the following day, and then if you are able to just complete all of these, then you just do this that day as well. But again, my golden number is between 6 to 8 tasks. You will find yours. Finally, we have the inbox. What I recommend you to do is to just shut things down in an inbox zero state. Now, this means that you should process your inbox every single day at the end of your working day. And you know, if you don't process it once, you know, it's not the end of the world, but you have to commit 100% that you will process it the following day, because if not, at least, and it will just cause much more friction and you will procrastinate on processing your inbox because now it will take you much longer. And you will find that this is just extremely quick. So you open a task, get Clark Kent a new suit. I'm going to do this on Friday. Priority will be a third priority because I'm going to do it in the evening, and I will assign the type to actionable. We have to change this to actionable once we assign a priority and a due date. So that's what I am going to do. And that's it. Now the inbox is clear and I get to shut everything down and rest assured that I'm going to have a solid plan for tomorrow. So let's say that we actually are in the 27th. So what I'm going to do is drag and drop this in here and we are going to go directly into the win zone. That's the first thing we do in our days. So we go to the win zone and now we have this plan for today. That will seem familiar to you because this is how I explained the task manager before, but again, you just have your plan for the day and you check things off as your day goes by. So let's say that I already had the meeting with Superman, so I will check this off, and he told me that although he likes to fly, he also wants a new car, so he told me to get him a new car, and I would put that in the inbox. Right now it lives in there, but again, I don't do nothing with it. I just follow the plan for today. Once I finished this day, let's say I accomplished every task, awesome, great. Now I go to the prep zone at the end of my day and I take a look at this. If something for today was remaining, I just drag and drop it for the next day or for whenever I'm able to do that. And the inbox, now I have to process it. So I'm going to change the due date. I'm going to do that on Saturday 29, and I'm going to assign the priority of the number 1 win for the day. And once I change the due date and priority, I just change the type to actionable. And that's it. And that's how you manage your tasks. That's how you manage your day-to-day using the Optimus Task Manager. Okay, so I completely forgot to explain you how to manage recurring tasks. So I'm going to keep this really short and simple. There are a few ways to do this. I'm going to explain the simplest and least elegant way, which I learned again from August Bradley. So basically what you would have, let's say that I get a haircut every Friday. And again, this would be an actionable item and happening tomorrow. Let's say it is a second priority because I do it in the morning. So what you would do in here is, if you want again to have it every Friday, you would just add an icon. In August, Bradley uses the recycle icon, which you can also just click in here and just put the recycle icon via your keyboard, which is faster, but let's just keep it this way. And now you see this recycle button. Now, once you get your haircut, what you can do is to just drag and drop it for the next Friday or the next date in which you would want to perform that task again. If you want to check the box down because you like doing that, then you just click on duplicate, you just check this one and you just drag and drop this one to the desired date. So the system itself is very straightforward, and if you got to this part of the video, there is no reason why you can't just start using it now. And finally, if you want to dive deeper into the science of peak performance, make sure to check this video.